Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga, 32nd match day. Bayern Munich, they have another title, the 10th in a row, but still many things to play for, so let's analyze all the games with Radek Vegas. Remember that we want to know also your opinion, so leave your comments and press the like and subscribe, and now let's go on with the show. No surprise in the Bundesliga, Radek, 10th consecutive title for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, what should I say? It's no surprise, and
congratulations.
Yeah, they deserve it, for sure.
Well, and we had a very good week also from the betting perspective because your accumulator was right, also your system bet. So let's try to do more good bets on this match day. Starting on Friday, we have Union Berlin Furth. What a season is doing Union Berlin. Great victory against Leipzig, taking the revenge after the defeat in the semi-finals of the Cup against Leipzig, actually. So 4 consecutive victories for them, challenging still for Europe, and I guess this is a must-win for them. The problem is from the betting perspective, not to see good odds.
Yeah, the winning odds of 1.3 on Union Berlin are really bad, but kind of fair, because we have a very good home team here, and you said it, they made a big win at Leipzig, and this was awesome after their close defeat in the cup game 3 days before against Leipzig. And so, yeah, they are really hot, but that's maybe kind of the problem, because they had 2 really tough games now, and they will kind of value Furth now. And remember, Furth was made their first their first victory in the Bundesliga this season against Union Berlin at home, when no one expected that. Furth won 1-0, but Furth is now the first team who is sure in the second league next year. It was obvious in the whole season that they are not staying in the league, and now they can't reach the spot 16 anymore, and so they have nothing to lose. That's the point, and they made some points and some close games against other teams. That's why I won't bet on that small Union Berlin odds, and on the other hand, I won't bet against Union Berlin because I think they are at home and they need also the points to go to the international places. And so the only thing I can maybe think about is both teams to score at odds of 2.3 with a small amount of money. I won't bet the whole 1 unit. I regularly bet, but I think half of a unit would be fair enough. And I think Furth could be maybe score a goal here, because they are now free, and we often see teams who have nothing to lose playing without pressure and playing better than before, and maybe that can also happen to Furth.
Okay, both teams to score. Next game is also very important for the relegation. Well, this one especially is very important for the relegation. Arminia Bielefeld, Hertha, because Bielefeld, they are also in relegation spots. Almost last call for them, 1 point in the last 8 Bundesliga games. Whereas for Hertha, massive victory against Stuttgart, against Augsburg. So with your Felix Magath, they are very close to secure salvation.
Yes, and this is the next very, very important game for both of the teams, and even more for Arminia Bielefeld. They must win this game to have a chance to stay in the league, and if they don't win this game, it's kind of impossible to stay in the league. Maximum would be relegation spot and playing against the third of the second league in the 2 relegation games after the season. But the standings are like that. You have Arminia at spot 17 with 26 points, Stuttgart on spot 16, 2 points before with 28 points, and Hertha has 32 points, 6 points more than Arminia Bielefeld and 4 points more than Stuttgart. And I think Hertha is in a good run, and They are for sure in a better run as Arminia Bielefeld is, and this psychological advantage should be the reason to bet on Hertha here as well. And I am really surprised that they get this huge odds of 2.85 because I think they should be, after the last two games, should be clear favorite in this game. And that's why, as I did on the last game day, betting on Asian handicap 0 on Hertha is kind of a no-brainer because I can't see them lose here. And we get odds of 1.98 on Asian handicap 0 on Hertha. On the other hand, the danger is that Bielefeld has to put everything they have in this game because it's their last chance to stay in the league maybe. And on the other hand, it could be also a battle between Stuttgart and Bielefeld in the last games because Stuttgart is only 2 points away and I'm not sure they will make points on this game day. So maybe not the really last chance for Arminia, but they should make points here. But I think Hertha knows the same and they are in a better situation, and betting on Hertha is really good.
3 games left in this Bundesliga. Next game is Augsburg Cologne, and also for Augsburg, with getting some points, they will be mathematically safe. I think they will stay already in the Bundesliga, 7 points away from Stuttgart, whereas for Cologne, what a season they are doing after the victory against Bielefeld, 3 consecutive victories, and still they can go to Europe and they have an easy calendar ahead, so why not?
Yes, and this is an away game for Cologne, and Cologne is they collect most of the points at home, so I think they have good chances to passing by Union Berlin or maybe Freiburg. Freiburg is 3 points ahead and Union Berlin is only 1 point ahead of Cologne. So would be really amazing if Cologne would make the international spots and play internationally next year. And in this game especially, it's very hard to predict because Augsburg, I always believed in Augsburg, and I was disappointed that they didn't make more out of their their players and their team. But they showed that they have chances to beat almost any team, as they beat Bayern Munich in the preseason, I think, or in the first leg of the season. At least they made it close in the last game against Bayern Munich. And Augsburg is always good for making points. And in this game, I think they will move on after their win away last game day, which was one of our ACCA picks, I think, or wasn't it? At least I was betting on Augsburg as a single bet in my private money. So this was great, and I think this is kind of a draw here because I can't say clearly that Cologne is here the favorite and Augsburg will not lose. So kind of a draw game with odds of 3.5 or maybe 3.6, depends on where you bet.
Next game is Dortmund-Bochum. Nothing to play for these teams. Very disappointing, I think, the season overall for Dortmund, for Marco Rose on the bench. Haaland has been injured the most time of the season and he won't be here in the following one. So just to end up in a positive way, I guess, Radek, the season with a Bochum that was one of the biggest surprises of this season. Great salvation, but nothing to play for them. They are safe.
Yes, and that's why I think they lost last game there against Augsburg, because they had a lack of motivation and Augsburg needed the points more. And it's kind of ridiculous saying that it's a disappointing season for Borussia Dortmund after they are going to the Champions League on spot 2 easily. And being defeated by Bayern Munich, it's not a really shame, and that is the maximum what Borussia Dortmund could achieve in the last 10 years. And so I think they're kind of unrealistic what they expect, because that Borussia Dortmund is going to be champion is kind of impossible. And before the season I thought Leipzig would be even better than Dortmund, and at the moment I think if there hadn't been Jesse March at Leipzig, I think Leipzig would easily be on spot 2, and maybe they would have been a better competitor to Bayern Munich. So spot 2 for Borussia Dortmund is the best they could achieve. So discussing about Rose and not being happy with him, and they had also a lot of injuries. I think they made the best out of their situation. So it's kind of ridiculous just to blame him about being second after Bayern Munich, what no one else in the league could achieve. And I don't know. I think the odds of 1.4 are good, but I won't bet on a small favorite bet like this. I also don't trust Bochum too much in this game, because I was thinking about maybe both teams to score. I really like in the Bundesliga in this season. It's also possible for sure, because I think the Dortmund defense is not the best in this year. So Bochum is able to score maybe. Then we get odds of 1.77, but this is not recommended. I would say just don't touch this game, because if you have a too clear favorite and other team who is not really motivated maybe, then you can't win a lot. And so save your money in this game and put it on Hertha maybe, or on another pick.
Well, the problem with Dortmund is the European disappointments out in the Champions League against Sporting Lisbon and in the Europa League against Rangers. Probably that is the part of the season that they could have improved compared to other seasons that they were very competitive in Europe. And next game, Mainz, Bayern Munich, another game that I guess, Radek, what do you do in these kind of games that we are going to see at the end of the season? Because both teams, they have nothing to play for. Bayern, they are champions. Mainz, they've been doing a great season, so they are in the middle of the table, completely safe. They are on holidays. Is it good to go for underdogs, for instance, expecting surprise?
Basically, it's always good to go for underdogs, and especially in the last games of the season, there are often surprises in games like that, as you said. I think so. But it's hard to go on Mainz, as they only had a really good first leg of the seasons since 2022. I think Mainz is really not the same, and they made a kind of down streak, and I think they didn't win one of their last 6 games or like that. So the last 5-0 at Wolfsburg was kind of showing us that Mainz is not that good anymore. And why should Bayern Munich lose points here as they did in the past against Mainz? But in the past, Mainz was way better. Almost 1 year ago, in April 2021, Mainz won at home against Bayern Munich 2-1. But at this time, Mainz was on a hot streak and Bayern Munich was already champion. Now Bayern is also champion already, but Mainz is not on a hot streak. So I don't think Mainz is a good bet here. So Bayern Munich with 1.5 at Mainz. I think this is kind of a chance to bet on. And maybe you know the double bets to get odds of 2. If you find 2 favorites in this game, I would bet on Bayern Munich with 1.5 and combine it with Borussia Dortmund, because I think both favorites will win in this game. And so we have odds of 2 and can double our money on these favorites. And if at the end Dortmund only plays 1-1 against Bochum, then it's not our fault, it's just the fault of 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿.
Next game, Stuttgart-Wolfsburg. Here we have Stuttgart playing for their lives in the play-out spots, only 2 points more than Bielefeld. And the next game is Bayern Munich. So they have to get points against Wolfsburg that they are now completely safe after that 5-0 victory against Mainz. Another team that changed manager with 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿. At least Wolfsburg, they are safe.
Yeah, this is a really if you talk about disappointment, I think Wolfsburg meet this criteria more than Borussia Dortmund, as they were starting as a Champions League contender, and now they have to be happy not to be relegated or something like that. Really bad season for Wolfsburg, and think about what money they have, because Volkswagen is their main sponsor and putting money in, and they really have a lot of money and a lot of good players and good paid players, and at the end it's not much what they achieved in the season. On the other hand, Stuttgart made a good surprise last year with a lot of young players, highly talented, and in this season they had also a lot of injuries, a lot of coronavirus cases, and at the end they it's kind of gambling who will stay in the league. If Bielefeld, I think, should be relegated, and Stuttgart has to play in the relegation games against the third of the second league. But I think we have the best second league ever in this season. So I think even if Stuttgart makes it to spot 16, they would face a relegation to League 2. And in this game, I really don't think Stuttgart is the favorite. I don't understand the odds of 2.2 because everything I said, Wolfsburg has the higher potential, and Stuttgart hasn't won for 5 games. And that's why I would say Asian handicap 0 on Wolfsburg is a good bet with 2.3 or even 2.35 in odds. Or just betting on double chance Wolfsburg if you want to put it in an ACCA, and I think I would do this because the odds of 1.7 on double chance Wolfsburg are still really good.
We have Werder Bremen and Schalke in positions to go to the Bundesliga, and Darmstadt to play the playoff right now, but still is very competitive, the Bundesliga too. So let's see who is gonna get promoted. The next game, Hoffenheim, Freiburg, probably no Europe for Hoffenheim, winless in the last 6. So the dream to play again in Europe is almost gone, whereas for Freiburg, also a bit disappointed that goal conceded in the very last minute against Gladbach, because Radek, if they want to play Champions League next season, they have a very tough calendar. They have this game that is not easy, then Union Berlin and Leverkusen, and the cup final, of course.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I think Freiburg shouldn't go to the Champions League because of a lot of points, and I think it would be awesome, and I love Freiburg, but I think the club is too small for that, and I think if they are playing in the Champions League, they will struggle in the Bundesliga, and so maybe it's better for them just to go to the Europe Cup. And as we see in the standings, they are now in position 5, but they have some really tough opponents to fight, and that's why I think it's harder for them to go to the Champions League than it is for Leipzig and Leverkusen. And we kind of have a really in a game where I would say it's a draw. But Hoffenheim didn't win one of their last 5 games, and they are favorite. I don't think so, and if I don't agree with the favorite odds, I would bet on Asian handicap 0 on the away team. And in this case, hoping that Freiburg is not losing here, will have odds of 2.2. But putting money on that is another thing, because I'm not really confident, because I know that Hoffenheim at home is always dangerous to any team, and especially that Freiburg is not that stable at the moment. The game against Gladbach was really awesome, and Coach Streich said after it, everyone who was watching this game should buy a 10-year card for the stadium, because that's one of the best games they would have seen, and that is just advertising for Freiburg soccer. And he's right, and so let's hope for a lot of goals, but I'm really not sure if Freiburg can win this game, so I'm not even sure if they can draw here, and in this case I won't bet on them. But I understand everyone who says, like I said before, there is more value on Freiburg here as on Hoffenheim.
And another interesting game, Gladbach-Leipzig. Gladbach, another team that was very disappointing the whole season with the quality of their players, very far from Europe. But this is a tough game also for Leipzig, Radek, because they are playing the semifinals of the Europa League in between against Rangers. And that defeat against Union Berlin in the last 10 minutes, they have to keep an eye on the Bundesliga to qualify for the Champions League.
Yes, and as we've seen in the past that Leipzig had problems with away games. There was a long streak of 9 games in this season where they didn't win an away game under Jesse Marsch. But then Domenico Tedesco came and shifted this a bit. Yeah, it's really an important situation for them at the moment, playing against West Ham. Or who do they play? The Rangers, yeah. I think they are more focused on that, and the cup game also was kind of relief of them, because as we've seen, they were losing the next game against Union Berlin, and so I won't bet on Leipzig in this game. Betting on Gladbach is a different thing. They were leading 2-0 against Freiburg. They almost lost against Freiburg, and they made the equalizer to 3-3 in the last minutes by Lars Stindl, who was substituted in. So yeah, I don't know if this was a good point for Gladbach or just a lucky point. I won't trust Gladbach as well, so betting against Leipzig is no option, betting on Gladbach is no option. The only thing is betting on both teams to score here. We get odds of 1.7, and I think in this game that would be the best option.
All right, and the fight for the Champions League is also interesting in our last game. We have Leverkusen. Frankfurt, with Frankfurt, of course, focus also in the Europa League. Frankfurt is playing against West Ham. They are on holidays in the Bundesliga, so this is a good option for Leverkusen. They have to play against Hoffenheim and Freiburg are the next games. That Leverkusen-Freiburg can be interesting. So this is a must-win for Leverkusen. If Radek, they want to go to the Champions League, remember that in the last years they lost their spot in the last games.
Yes, and that's the difference between wanting and realistic achievements. And Leverkusen has always problems in important games, maybe. I don't know. In this situation, I would say yes, betting on Leverkusen is a good option because of Frankfurt's playing in the Europe Cup, but the odds on Leverkusen are unlikely and really bad. I would expect odds of around 2.0 on Leverkusen as fair odds, and the odds are 1.5 or 1.6, and that's way too low. No value at all on Leverkusen here. So I would say Leverkusen is maybe favorite or is not losing the game, but I have really Yeah, I would not bet on this low odds, and I would say it's even better to bet a small amount of money on a draw here, because you get odds of 4.5 on a draw, and yeah, you can win more with this, and as you can win with a Leverkusen win if it's the case. And that Frankfurt is gonna win in this game, I think. In a normal situation, I would say it's a huge value on Frankfurt, but as we know, that Frankfurt is performing weaker in the Bundesliga, especially after they had a Europe game. I don't think this is an option here. So everything made for Leverkusen, but betting on it is a different thing.
They are winless in the last 5 in the Bundesliga, Frankfurt, because they are absolutely focused, of course, in playing the Europa League final. Perhaps we have a German final, Frankfurt, Leipzig in Seville, actually. So I guess no matter if it's German teams or British teams, the bartenders in Seville are very happy preparing all the beer in the world for German supporters or for British supporters. I think none of them like beer, no?
For sure not.
And it will be hot for sure in May in Seville. Radek, let's finish with your academy for this match day.
Yeah, as I said, I have 2. One kind of favorite, lame ACCA on Bayern Munich and Dortmund. You get odds of around 2 if you combine the victories of them. And the other one is the Asian Handicap 0 ACCA, I would say. Asian Handicap 0 on Wolfsburg and Asian Handicap on Hertha. So we get odds of 2.3 on Wolfsburg and around 2 on Hertha, makes it 4.6, just combining these 2 Asian Handicap 0 bets. And then let's hope the best and enjoy these last game days and have a good one.
Best luck. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have now all the information to bet on this match day in Germany. Remember to leave your comments, also support us, press the like and subscribe. And if you also want, we have a podcast for you. Bye-bye.